Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyerboxingnews.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now let me do a confession here at the beginning of this video. Last night I was out in the rain watching the Stanford Cardinal take care of business over the UCLA Bruins. Go Cardinal. Somehow I found my way to Buffalo Wild Wings later in the night. Let's just say I'm feeling under the weather, can barely breathe through my nose. Hope I don't drag this video down too much. I'm going to be doing more reading than usual because I am a bit under the weather. Let's talk about this David Price second round knockout of Max Skelton. Now let me just say, it was a second round knockout, so the under 7.5 rounds, which we recommended, delivered easily. Right? Price got the KO in the second round. You actually had 5+ rounds to go. You won that bet easily. Now, as gamblers well know, by taking the under 7.5 rounds, instead of Price simply to win, you got massively better odds, more than 10 times better than you would have gotten had you simply taken Price to win the fight. Moreover, you got more protection, which the first minute of this fight cleared you surely needed, in that you would have won if either guy won the fight inside of 7.5 rounds. Now let's talk about the fight. I believe it's a very significant fight. I've placed the fight on my channel page. It's a short fight. For those of you who like to analyze fights, I'm hoping you take a look at the fight. It's short. It's less than 6 minutes long because it's very revealing. Right? Understand, David Price is a major talent. The sky's the limit. I'd like to see him in against Vladimir Klitschko, the heavyweight champion of the world, right? Whether he fights for the championship or not, David Price is a major player at heavyweight. So he's someone we all need to analyze. If you're a gambler, you need to know him. Because, quite frankly, he's a guy who could fight anybody at heavyweight. And you need to know his strengths and weaknesses. Here's my take. Price lost the first round. He looked as bad as I have ever seen him look in the first minute of the round. Against a younger, not a 45-year-old like Matt Skelton, but against a younger, faster opponent, he might have been tested even more in the first round. As it was, right at the beginning of the fight, you don't even have to watch the video too long, you'll see Price is up against the ropes. In my opinion, he is just lucky that Skelton allowed him to tie him up and didn't use a bounce with uppercuts and lateral movement. Think Mike Tyson, to prevent that from happening. In a sentence, Price looked limited in the first round. Let's talk about his punches. He has a left hook that he throws mostly up top, right? He has a straight right hand that can be smothered. And it looks to me like he has to frame that right hand. In other words, he has to touch you with lefts to get the range before he throws it. By having to frame it, he is telegraphing it. Now, Price has success behind a jab coming forward. He can batter you when he's on his front foot with that jab, but not going backwards, right? Price also has success with body shots coming forward, but again, not going backwards and not standing still. Now, ultimately, it was Price's body attack that won the day. But here's the point. If you get inside on David Price, if you can get him on his back foot, especially up against the ropes, all he can do is grab you. In my opinion, and I know Price is riding high, I know the headlines are Price destroys Max Skelton, right? Matt Skelton. I know that's the headline. I understand, this is viewed as a triumph. Price is viewed as moving forward. I get it. But this is YouTube. As good as the car looks, we're going to try to look under the hood. Right? We're going to try to look for strengths and weaknesses. In my opinion, and I'm in the minority, I'm sure, Price needs to stay away from the Antonio Tarvers of the world, who can get inside, who wouldn't allow him to hold, who would punish his body, something Matt Skelton did not do, and who, in my opinion, would have an opportunity to methodically punish and beat him. I know many of you are reaching right now for the mouse so you can click on the disapprove of this video, but let me just say, frankly, Price would do better against Vladimir Klitschko than he would an Antonio Tarver, who would punish him on the inside. Let me say, since David Price isn't afraid to fight guys in their 40s, where Matt Skelton is, Tarver is viable as an opponent, and all I'm saying is understand that as good as Price looked, he didn't look good on his back foot. He didn't look good inside. Right? Certain punches he really can't throw to the body in certain positions. Right? If you're a veteran fighter who knows his way around the ring, this fight highlights David Price's weaknesses. Put another way, in my opinion, this fight shows the blueprint on how to give him all kinds of problems. When Skelton gets inside, he has Price going backwards. That's why Price is up on the ropes. Not only at the start of the first round. Take a look at the start of the second round. Both rounds. Price is up on the ropes quickly. When Skelton gets inside, unfortunately, he didn't go to work on Price's body. That's virgin territory. There's a lot of it because Price is a very tall man. In my opinion, Price can't fight on his back foot. He can't back up, and while backing up, throw a jab and stay coordinated. Now, this is something Vladimir Klitschko can do, and he can actually do it well. Understand, Vladimir Klitschko is not just a big man. He's an extremely coordinated big man. Right? So Vladimir Klitschko can set up shop, can throw that jab. When you jump in, Klitschko can actually take a step back, stay coordinated, still have the jab working. In my opinion, David Price, who looks like he's a great athlete, he moves well for a big man. He just doesn't move well enough with sufficient coordination to keep that jab primed, like the heavyweight champion does. Right? Let me just say this too. As you watch this Skelton fight, just imagine what would have happened if Skelton were able to continue to fight the way he did in the first minute of the fight. It's jarring, folks. Right? It's jarring. Let me say this too. In the second round, Skelton actually starts throwing a right hand over David Price's left, and he actually hits Price. right? Price, even though the right hand is looping, doesn't seem able to think neck, think above the shoulders. Doesn't seem able to roll with the punches. Now, ultimately, I believe that's Skelton's downfall, because Skelton has success throwing that right hand up top, so he then continues to throw the right hand up top, leaves his body exposed. That's when Price, in the later part of the round, and it's late in the second round has ebbs and flows. It's not all a Price round. Price, later in the round, starts to land body punches, and of course is able to finish Skelton. Skelton goes down, the corner throws in the towel, right? I'll just say Skelton has good people behind him, his corner has his back. But let me say this, right? If Skelton doesn't fall in love with that right hand up top, and if he keeps the right hand closer to home to block punches, I mean, understand, we didn't see great body work from David Price, either standing stationary or backing up. When David Price's back's on the rope, he doesn't even try to work the body. I know there's a difference of opinion in the United Kingdom. There's kind of like a boxing cultural civil war going on. I understand there is that group that has looked at Tyson Fury tapes and believes, as Tyson has said, as Tyson believes, that he's the best heavyweight since Lennox Lewis. That's his belief, right? Now, I'll concede that Tyson Fury can fight inside. Now, longtime subscribers know I won't bet on a Tyson Fury fight because I think Tyson Fury has some issues upstairs. But if you're Tyson Fury and you know you can fight inside, and you're watching this tape, and you have the kind of short inside punches that Fury actually has. Fury has several parts to his game, right? He's not just a tall guy. He's actually one of these guys who, quite frankly, can fight, as Fury fans know, right-handed or left-handed, inside or outside. I'll concede that while I consider David Price to be the superior athlete in terms of skill level, Tyson Fury at this stage of their respective careers seems to be more skilled. If Tyson Fury gets inside, I think Tyson Fury would be able to do a lot of damage on David Price, because David Price, in my opinion, is great on his front foot. He can take out anybody on his front foot. Unfortunately, in this short fight, less than 6 minutes long, he has his back against the ropes at different times in both rounds. Understand, the way fighters win fights is they don't have to be better than you in what you do best. They don't. It's more rock, paper, scissors. If they can survive what you do best, in fact, better yet, if they can prevent you from getting in a position to do what you do best, in other words, if I know you're great on your front foot, well, if I can set the fight up so you're never on your front foot, and if I know you're below average with your back up against the ropes and you're a guy who tries to grab, right? And if I know I can prevent you from grabbing by coming in and actually moving, by coming in and making sure that whatever I'm doing over here, I always have one hand free, and that as you grab me, I'm still throwing punches. If I know that from distance, that left hand, when you're standing still, is only going to be up top and isn't going to hit me in the ribs, then these are the kind of steps that the elite fighters of the world are prepared for. So let me just say, David Price, as I see it today, has so many holes in his game. If I were him, and I'm just talking as a boxing fan, I would stay away from the Antonio Tarvers. I would find a way to stay away from the Tyson Furies. And I would try to fight for the heavyweight championship. Because quite frankly, as good as Tarver and Fury are, they can't give you the belt. More importantly, because both of those guys can fight inside in a way that, quite frankly, Vladimir Klitschko can't. Right? Let's not assume because a guy has the belt that he has the more rounded game. Right? Because Fury and Tarver can fight inside and Vladimir Klitschko can't, if I'm David Price, I would try to go for the heavyweight title. Fighting a Tyson Fury is just simply too dangerous when you have holes in your inside game. When you have holes in fighting on your back foot. And let me also say this too, and I don't say it lightly. Understand that it takes years to develop those skills. You don't show up in one training camp and suddenly emerge from the training camp well-rounded. No, boxing is like a language, right? When you hear guys who are gifted verbally, who speak a language well, right? Understand it's taken them a lifetime to get to that point, right? I can't pick up a how to learn English book and suddenly start sounding like Shakespeare after a 3-month fight camp. That's just not the way it works, right? The Antonio Tarvers of the world, quite frankly, are the result of years in the game, right? If you look at Tarver's record, you'll find out that even before he was a professional fighter, he was a decorated amateur, right? These are guys who are in the ring learning how to fight inside, how to deal with a guy on their chest when their back's up on the ropes without just holding the guy, right? You know, how to come in and have left hooks that when you're standing still, the other guy has to worry about his body as well, because you might drop that left hook to the body, right? It takes years to get leverage like that. All I'm saying is David Price is not 21, right? He's not. And so if I'm David Price, given that his skill set seems to match up well with Vladimir Klitschko, that's the road I would take. He was in danger in this fight against 45-year-old Matt Skelton of being exposed. All I'm saying is, as you watch the first minute of this fight, ask yourself, how did David Price get placed on the defensive that fast? What's he doing up on the ropes? How could this happen? And if you think it's a fluke, then when you're watching the second round, early in the second round, and you see Skelton again with his head right up on Price's chest, and Price's back again up on the ropes, and Price looking like he's there involuntarily. Not like Broner and Floyd are up on the ropes voluntarily. Not like Ali rope-a-doping, but no, Price is on the ropes involuntarily. Ask yourself, how did this happen 2 times in 2 rounds? Then what I want you to do is to look at the end of the Antonio Tarver Danny Green fight. You're going to see Danny Green ends up with his back against the ropes. And keep in mind, Danny Green's a highly skilled fighter, right? In fact, these guys are world class. Danny Green had the title at the time, right? This is light heavyweight. This is cruiser. Danny Green has his back up on the ropes. Tarver has him badly hurt. As you look at that film, I want you to see what Tarver does to make sure Danny Green can't tie him up. That's what elite fighters do. Tarver, even with a guy hurt, is bouncing. He's moving. He's coming in at angles. Just imagine if Tarver had David Price up on the ropes like Matt Skelton did multiple times in this 2-round fight. Let's just say if I hear that Tarver is fighting David Price, I'm guessing because Price is a juggernaut right now, I'd probably get what, 3, 4 to 1 odds at Antonio Tarver? Ooh. If you are looking for me after that fight is announced, you'll know where to find me. I'll be in the sports book standing in line to hedge that play with some money on Tarver hedged against Price by KO. Anyway, let me hear from you. I'm sure there is a David Price crowd out there, as I know there is a Tyson Fury crowd out there. I'll tell you what, let's make the comment section to this video a forum where everyone feels like they can be heard, including, of course, the Antonio Tarver crowd. Keep in mind, I know Tarver's in his 40s. Let me just say this, and I've mentioned Hopkins in several videos. Technique helps fighters as they're older. Knowing what to do can offset slower reflexes. Just food for thought, right? Even when your legs are gone, even when they're not what they used to be. If you know the angles and if you know the principles and if you have the skills to throw punches different places, and to defend yourself, protect yourself in certain situations, you can give a lot of young lions a lot of problems. Right? Just look at this fight, the problems Matt Skelton gives David Price in the first minute of the fight, right out the gate. Thanks for stopping by. Let me hear from you. Thanks.